Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Thank you for choosing to listen to me today. The fact that you have tells me that something in the title of this episode intrigued you and compelled you to press play. And it's no different for me. Yeah, something compelled me to record this episode today. And we're talking all about reinvention and why it's an essential part of growth, not just in your personal life, but in your business too. I don't know about you, but I have noticed a massive movement at the moment, particularly amongst women who seem to be hitting 40, which is midlife, by the way, in case you weren't aware. In the UK, the average life expectancy is 83. So we're halfway through our time on this planet, ladies, if we're lucky. And women in their 40s seem to be having this huge wake-up call and going, oh my God, I am not happy. I don't want to work for someone else anymore. No, I've always wanted to be a ceramic artist or live by the sea, or I deserve better and I'm leaving my husband, or I'm going back to study and become a teacher. We seem to be acknowledging that, you know what? Hey, I'm not happy with my life like this anymore, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. And I'm making some big changes. And it feels empowering and scary and liberating and unnatural. But it feels right. And we do it. We quit our jobs, we leave our partner, we stop pleasing every other sodding person and start to put ourselves first. We change. We're reinventing ourselves. It's like we're entering a new era almost, and we're just determined to feel happier than we ever have before. And I don't know what it is about age 40. Maybe it's a midlife thing. They call it a midlife upgrade. Or maybe by that age, we've just had our fair share of responsibility and bad luck and life experience. And now we're actually pretty clear on what it is we don't want, even if we don't know exactly what it is we do want. And we're not just talking here about making small little changes today. We're talking about the concept of reinvention, the act through which something is changed so much that it appears to be entirely new. And we're talking specifically today about how it can be so beneficial, not just for yourself as a woman, feeling stuck or bored or fed up or trapped, but also as a business owner. Because we change, life changes, and our careers and our business change. They need to. And we're going to look at the main telltale signs that are screaming at you that it's time to reinvent yourself, personally and professionally. And I tell you, if you can identify with at least one of them, it's very, very likely that you're not living your life to its full potential. And once we know this, we're going to look at the steps that you can take to make it happen and reinvent yourself or your business. We're not messing around today, right? We haven't got another 20 years to faff around, hoping things are going to get better or just seeing what happens. No, not anymore. I don't want to be successful at 80 years old. What, and get 3 years to enjoy the money that I've made before I'm the richest woman in the graveyard? No way. And I had a rule, right, in my 30s. Actually, it was when I hit 30 and I still hadn't found the right man by that point. And I gave my potential boyfriends 3 months to see if they were going to be right for me. 3 months, that was it. And if I still had doubts after those 3 months, I'd end it. I wasn't messing around. And I'm applying the same rules to my businesses now. It's a little bit different because with businesses, things do take time to get going, as we all know. But if something clearly isn't working, I'm changing it up. And it doesn't mean that you quit your business because, you've just made this new product that you thought was going to do really well and you sold one to your next door neighbour. Like, no, it doesn't mean you're shit at what you do and you just give up. You just have to pivot. Just try something new. Do a total 180 if you need to. You don't quit, you just reinvent. And there's an almighty force of energy, I feel, behind this concept of reinvention. Like it gives you a new lease of life, a renewed energy. It's like a rebirth almost, isn't it? And it doesn't matter how down and out you're feeling, how unmotivated or how low or depressed. Once you make that commitment to reinventing some aspect of your life or your business, it's like you're reborn again and you feel like anything is possible. And you know why that is? Because it is possible. Why do you think that these women who break out of unhappy marriages or leave a job that they've been miserable going to every single day or come out the other side of a trauma of any kind, change their hair? Why do they start eating healthy, start exercising to lose some weight and feel well balanced and stable again? Or why do they take up a hobby and decide that this is their year to build that home studio at the back of the garden? Because it's a physical manifestation of our new mental state, a physical act that we can carry out that reinvents the way we feel and our attitude towards overcoming a particular challenge or an event that's happened in our life. And we're not talking small stuff here. We're not just mixing things up and changing our brand of skin cream or swapping the cushions around in the living room or buying new kitchenware. No. I mean, you might do these things as well. I've just bought myself 2 lovely new cushions for my balcony for the summer from B&M. We're going big or we're going home. We seem to grow a huge pair of balls once we hit that age 40 milestone, don't we? And we go all in. I remember I went to Vegas in my 20s, and I remember that I wouldn't bet $5 in the casino because I didn't want to lose it. I wasn't a gambler. I'd rather spend it on a cocktail or a souvenir or some food. However, I had countless photos stood pretending to play at the slot machines, but I didn't put anything in them. Send me to Vegas now, and I'd probably put my house, my husband, and my child on the table and risk winning big, Or maybe not. But I'd bet $50, $100 if I had it in my pocket. I think we just get braver as we get older, even if we don't actually feel it. It's weird because we're more fearless in some ways when we're younger and more confident versus when we hit midlife and we're a bit more battered and broken, aren't we, from the storms of life, and perhaps we've lost some of that confidence or it's been beaten out of us. I don't know. But like, for example, on that trip to Vegas that I just mentioned, right, I was fearless. I travelled to Vegas with a friend. I got held and interrogated at customs because I hadn't been back in America since I'd left the country when my first marriage to an American man failed. Right, so I got held in customs for a good couple of hours and got interrogated by these really scary officers asking me what my purpose was and why I was back in the country. Like, I just took it with a pinch of salt. I handled it and I got out of the room and I carried on my holiday. The airline, they lost our luggage, both mine and my friends. We weren't asked. I wasn't thinking about not having any clean knickers or my makeup remover or my pyjamas. No, we just went for a yard-long cocktail and we got there and bought some spare underwear and toiletries from Target. Like, I didn't even panic when the tyre from our rental car blew up on the way back from a road trip that we took to the Grand Canyon, right? And we went to the Grand Canyon because my friend's mum had passed away and she wanted to throw her ashes off the edge of the cliff at the Grand Canyon, right? Cliff, is that the right word to describe it? Anyway, she brought her mum's ashes in a Slim Fast tub. I kid you not, right? Those tubs that they sell the Slim Fast powder in, right? And she was a large lady as well, so the irony, couldn't write it, could you? Anyway, We did chuck the ashes off the end. The wind blew and they all blew back in our face. Different story. However, what also blew was the tyre, right? So we were stuck in the middle of the Nevada desert in this car. No phone signal to call for help, no food, no drink left, no clue what we were going to do. We were in the middle of nowhere. And in the end, we waited 2 hours before another vehicle passed us and stepped in to help. And we weren't scared that this vehicle which stopped was like this rusty old pickup truck, 2 hillbilly old men in it, who insisted on towing us to their garage to fix our tyre. And then once we were there, they sort of like lured us into their garage just to show us these vintage cars that they were fixing up. Did we think they were a bit strange? Maybe. Did we think they were there to kidnap and murder us? Because no one would ever know. It was literally that remote. Did we? Hell. We were too busy draping ourselves over these vintage cars and posing for photos to even give a shit if they were serial killers. Luckily they fixed our tyre and an hour later we were back on the road. But I think back to that now and I'm like, oh my God, what an absolute idiot. I might have been fearless in my 20s, but I definitely wasn't ballsy. Like, that has come with age. And with this comes the desire to embrace big changes that propel us forward in ways that we haven't been able to do before. And when we look at it this way, we realise that reinvention isn't just optional at certain times in our life, it's essential in order to grow and achieve our full potential. So, what are the signs that you may need to make some big moves and look at reinventing some aspect of your life or your business if you're a business owner? We're going to look mainly at the business side of things in a work-related capacity because I don't want to be held responsible for you leaving your husband for 25 years or cutting all your hair off, right? So let's look at your business life, whether you work for yourself or not. Let's find out if you need to be reinventing your business or an aspect of it to help get you out of that rut and make some progress. Because if you've been feeling stuck or bored or like you're just treading water, then it's very possible that you need to do some reinvention. And that leads me on to the first sign, and I'm going to say 2 words to you. 2 words only. You ready? Groundhog Day. You know that feeling. Every day feels the same. And like you're just living the same thing day in, day out, over and over again. And nothing excites you anymore. You're feeling fed up with the routine of life and work, and everything just feels a little bit grey. You know that feeling I'm talking about, right? It's pretty depressing, isn't it? That feeling that there has got to be more to life. And that's because there is. Another sign is that you're complaining a lot. Yeah, to your friends or your family, your hairdresser, the woman on the checkout in Tesco. Like, I know when I'm really fed up and ready for a big change, when the checkout assistant in my local co-op asks me how I am. Like they do because it's their job to be nice to customers. But really, they couldn't give a rat's arse as to how your day's been. But, she'll say, oh, hi Joanne, how are you? Because I live in a relatively small place and we all know each other by name. It's the kind of place where my postie beeps to me to say hello when I'm walking down the street. It's lovely, really. But anyway, poor Barbara at the co-op, right? She asks me how I am. And if I am on the edge or I'm feeling like I'm stuck in Groundhog Day or everyone's pissing me off, she cops for it, right? And I end up just blurting it all out. And all the poor cows ask me is, how's my daughter? And how's my business going? And I end up like with this terrible case of verbal diarrhea, spouting out about how I never sleep and I'm feeling frustrated with work and I want to disappear to a tropical island and not talk to anyone for at least a month and live like a monk or something in solitude. Like that is my sign that a reinvention is on the imminent horizon, right? So maybe your best friend always cops for you complaining. Whether it's your bestie or whether it's Babs in the co-op, if you're complaining about the same thing over and over and over again, and you have been for some time, I'm going to stick my neck out and say it's time that you did something drastic about it. Also, do you fantasize a lot? Like about quitting everything? Moving to Italy to make your handmade soaps? Selling them every weekend at the local market and just spending the rest of your time eating your body weight in pasta, drinking a glass of red wine on your balcony, watching the sunset at night. Oh my God, yes, that's me. Me and my sister often text each other when we're having one of those difficult days, weeks, months, years lately. Yeah, and when we're really struggling. because we declare that we're going to do a Shirley Valentine and we're going to bugger off together to a Greek island to escape our monotonous life. It's everyone's dream over 40, isn't it? You know, disappearing into the sunset. We haven't done it yet, but we've been close, not going to lie. But maybe you find yourself fantasizing about what you really want, how you want your life to look, and what it is you want to be doing. And it looks nothing like it does now. And that's a real wake-up call, isn't it? Like, because if we want to have any chance of getting even remotely close to our dreams, we're going to have to take some action. And it's really important here to mention that I'm not talking about temporary frustrations here, like when you've had a bad day at work and maybe you've had no sales, or you've had a difficult customer, or you've had your first negative review, or maybe someone's order got lost in the post and you've had to replace it, so you're out of pocket. Like, those things happen. Sometimes they all happen on the same day. That's happened to me before. It's all part of running a business. It pisses you off for a bit, and then you move on. And you're back on track. And you're happy again. And it's temporary. It's when it's not temporary and it doesn't go away, and you felt a certain way for a prolonged amount of time. These are the signs that there is a real need for change here. That it's time to reinvent yourself or your business or your life in some way so that you can feel that joy again. I'll give you an example, and it makes me sad to talk about it because it's been a massive part of my life. And it's all I've known for the past 15 years, and that's my stationery business, Vintage Tree. So about 3 years ago, I fell out of love with it. Like, I did. And I think it had a lot to do with having a young child and all the challenges that we face as women trying to raise a family alongside bringing in an income. Plus COVID, it hit hard. It hit the wedding and events industry really hard. And I had to constantly reinvent different aspects of the business just to keep it afloat. So I lost my identity a little bit and I lost my way. And I did it because I had to. And I ended up bringing in the money that we needed, and that was fine. But then I just stopped wanting to create new stuff or even make the stuff that I already did. And it wasn't because no one wanted it. Wasn't that I wasn't getting the sales. It was just that I was tired and I was a little bit fed up. And I was feeling like Groundhog Day was upon me every single morning. And I'm not surprised. Like, at that point, I've been doing it 12 years. Like, we're at 15 years now. Like, Jesus, if I was working for someone else, I probably would have had at least 3 jobs at different companies during this amount of time. Like, I doubt anywhere would have held my interest long enough to keep me there for over a decade. Like, it's not wrong to feel this way. You just naturally change, and it's part of life. And it's recognizing when you need to make these moves to change. That's going to start the process of reinvention and bring about these new exciting opportunities for you. And I wanted to go back to what I originally set out to do after graduating uni with my psychology degree, and that was helping people. Like, I didn't want to fully abandon Vintage Tree. I still wanted to create. So I took a chance and I scaled it back and I launched Her Handmade Hustle. Now, am I where I want to be with Her Handmade Hustle? Not yet. Do I miss working full time on my craft business? A little bit. Do I regret making the change and reinventing myself when I hit 40? Not at all, right? This is my path now. I know it is, and I'm prepared to see it through. And I'm still reinventing myself within this new business as I go along, and I try and figure out what's working and what's not. And it will be the same for you. If something isn't going well and it's not selling, or you aren't enjoying it anymore, change it. Don't wait for things to just improve. Like, they might gradually, but more often than not, if something isn't working or you're feeling unhappy or unsettled in any way, it's for a reason. And that reason is usually that it's not right. It needs changing. It needs you to change it, to take the reins of your life or your business and to steer it in the direction that you want it to go. So before we talk about how you actually do this, how you reinvent yourself and your business if things aren't working as well as you'd hoped maybe, I just want to get really real with you and make sure that you're not making any excuses, right? How many of you listening to this episode have told yourself that you can't reinvent yourself now at 45, at 50, at 60, at 65? You think you're too old, or it's too risky, or you don't even know what you want, so how can you even try to do it? Well, I'm telling you now, those things are all bullshit. First, you're never too old. right? So long as you are living and breathing and in decent health, you can do anything. I mentioned in a podcast a couple of weeks ago about something called neuroplasticity, and that is our brains are physically capable of learning and adapting to new challenges and making new neural pathways and connections so we can learn new skills well into our 60s and 70s. You are not too old. The oldest person to learn to pass the UK driving test was over 100 years old. 100. I mean, I won't fancy being behind her on a country road on a dark night, but, good on her. Credit where credit's due. I don't even think I could pass my test now sometimes. I did it that long ago. But if you're sat there wanting to start up a business or really make a go of it, and perhaps you're midlife now and maybe even retired and you're thinking, what's the point? Have I got the time? Have I got the energy? What about the grandkids? What about my kids? Have I got the brain capacity, the fire? Well, ask yourself this simple question. And it's the only question you ever need to ask yourself if you really want to know whether or not you should take the leap, the risk, the plunge, whatever. Are you dead? If the answer is yes, then it's too late. Okay? But if the answer is no, then it is not too late. And you need to do whatever it takes to answer that calling and live the life that you want. And if you're saying to yourself you don't know what you want or you don't know where to start, well, neither did half the people who started a successful business anyway, but they figured out a way. Because if it's something that you truly want to do, you'll find a way to make it happen. It's like those friends, isn't it, that give you a call and they say to you, oh, would you like to meet up and go for a coffee? It's been ages. And you go, yeah, definitely. I'll be in touch. I'll let you know. And then you don't. It's because you don't want to do it. But the friends that contact you and say, oh, I'd love to come and see you. I'd love to meet up. I've not seen you in forever. Shall we? And you really want to see that person because they mean everything to you and you move heaven and earth to make it happen. You do it. You do it because you want to, and that's the difference. I mean, do we ever know what we're doing? Not just as business owners, but as people, as parents, as role models. Like, you don't have a baby and know exactly what to do with it and how to be a good mum, do you? You figure it out in between the tears and the terror and the tantrums, and that's not the baby, that's you. And it's just the same when you're in a business, right? You learn as you go along. It is the only way, telling you. So maybe you're thinking now that something isn't sitting quite right with your business. Now, you either know exactly what it is, like simply you aren't selling what you need to be selling to make this a sustainable venture, or you just can't put your finger on it. But something isn't working. Whichever one it is, you might need to start thinking about reinventing an aspect of your business to bring some fresh ideas and energy to see if it turns things around. Because in all honesty, right, we need to be trying to avoid doing a Shirley Valentine and buggering off to a Greek island to start a new life, don't we? Yeah, not very practical. We ideally need to fix the problem. I mean, Jesus, some days when it's really bad, me and my sister, we talk about going one step further and doing a Thelma and Louise, driving off the edge of the Grand Canyon together in a convertible. I mean, that's a joke, obviously, but we laugh about it all the time doing a Thelma and Louise, depending on how bad the day is. But I want you to think about what it is that you're not entirely happy with right now, or what's not working when it comes to your business. And I want you to write it down, like commit it to the paper. Get it out there. It doesn't mean you failed. Like, stop thinking that. It actually means that you're ready to grow. And while you're pondering on this and writing it down, I'll give you an example from my business. And this is Her Handmade Hustle, not Vintage Tree, right? There are a couple of things that I haven't been happy with for a while. And they were number one, my brand, and number two, my services, which is pretty much the two most important parts of a business, right? I just felt like they weren't communicating me properly. Everything really, from the colours I was using to the services that I was offering to help other small business owners in running their business. And it's taken me 18 months to get to this point, as it often does when you start a business. The main thing is that I started and that you start too. And then you can just change things as you go along and as you figure them out. So I've reinvented my brand and my services, and I just finally feel like it's right. I've changed my logo, my colours, the fonts, my brand voice and tone. Like, I have ditched the things that I thought I should be saying and doing, and I've replaced them with what I want to be saying and doing. Her Handmade Hustle is now a gorgeous, bold pink and red logo. My website is more creative and less corporate. I've got rid of the bog standard business coaching packages that everybody else is offering. And I've replaced them with this fun pick and mix style business support packages. Like you can literally go on my website now and you'll see all these bright and creative images. You can choose out of 9 essential business topics that every small business owner needs to know. You can choose which ones you need help with the most. You can customize your perfect package like you would choose your favorite sweets in an old-fashioned sweet shop, and you can pop them in your sweetie bag. Like even the images are in keeping with this fun idea. Like, I've used pictures of traditional sweets that you'd get from the shop, when you were a kid and you'd go to the corner shop and get your pick and mix. And my favourite were always white mice, and the pink mice. I love flying saucers. I love jazzies, them chocolate discs with the hundreds and thousands on them. I also love those chocolate cups, little foil coloured cups that you could get if you remember in like purple and red and green and gold. Yum, love them. But yeah, the website is almost totally unrecognisable now. It's gone from feeling a little bit forced and corporate to feeling bold and exciting and creative and fun and me. Not that I'm particularly exciting or fun, because I'm in my PJs most nights at 7 o'clock with the Horlicks watching Sweet Magnolias on Netflix. But I needed to make these bold changes because if I don't love my website and I'm not sure what I'm offering, then how can I expect anybody else to? Don't be afraid of changing something up if it's not working. And that is the beauty of working for yourself. Yeah. You can do whatever the hell you want. And you need to, because no one else will tell you that you need to fix something that isn't working. It's all on you. If you aren't getting the sales that you want and you haven't been for a good maybe 6 months, then sit down and look at your products and what you're offering. What can you get rid of? What can you change? What are people buying? Can you make any variations of the stuff that is working? If you don't love your logo, the visual representation of your business, reinvent it. If your business mission isn't clear, or it doesn't feel like you and your beliefs and your values, change it. If you're bored and you're not excited by what you are creating, then you probably need to change direction. It's your business. It's got to make you happy. And it's why you're doing it in the first place. And trust me, you'll be working harder than you have ever worked before and for much less money at times. So you have to enjoy it. Reinvention, it might feel drastic, but sometimes it's necessary. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You can reinvent at your own pace. So it's taken me 2 months to rebrand Her Handmade Hustle and get my website updated, get my logo sorted, refine my offerings, get my pick and mix packages set up. A reinvention can be small steps towards the big change. It doesn't have to be this big thing that stresses you out or makes you feel all overwhelmed. It's little moves will equal progress. Okay, so hopefully now you've got an idea of what it is that you want or you need to change in your head. And you've decided that, yeah, something isn't working and you need to do something about it. So let me help you now. Get those wheels in motion and make some moves towards reinventing whatever it is that you know isn't working. Let's talk about 5 things that you can do right now to make this happen, okay? The first thing that you can do is you need to get curious. You are going to need to do a bit of experimenting, a bit of learning, trying things out without any pressure. If you want to try creating something new and mixing up your product range or your style, have a play around. Why not? Enjoy being creative again. See what feels right. Take your time and, seek some inspiration. You know what I do when I've got a bit of a creative block? Sometimes I don't know where I want to go from here, or sometimes I even know what I'm trying to achieve, right? I clean. I usually park my worries and my frustrations up and I go and sort out my house. I go and organise some drawers, I'll clear some clutter, I'll stick a podcast on and I clean the kitchen, I fold the washing. I just do all those mundane jobs that pile up during the week because I'm spending all my time working or being creative or not creative in this case, and I'm just feeling stuck. And I think I know why I do this. And I think it's because I see results instantly with all these jobs. An empty washing basket, albeit not for long, a clean sink, tidy drawers. I can see the floor again once all the toys have been put away. I like this feeling of instant gratification because I'm not feeling it through my work. And this process of doing tasks that are almost automatic, I don't have to think about them or concentrate, it clears my mind. And the next day or week, after some time doing other stuff, I find the ideas just flow better. It's like I've literally made space in my brain to be able to think clearly again. So try it. Try and declutter your brain and experiment doing stuff without pressure. Step 2, okay, you need to start small. We said it before. It doesn't have to be big or overwhelming. Keep it manageable. If you are unhappy in your current job and you desperately want to leave to start up your own business, maybe selling your handmade soaps, then start putting your feelers out there. Like, learn the skills that you need, if you can, before taking the leap. Watch the YouTube videos in the evening when you get home and the kids are in bed. Research how you would do it, the steps you need to take. Find other people who have done it and learn from them. Get some mentoring. Even if you do one small thing a week, a month, you'll find yourself slowly but surely on the right path to reinvention, okay? Now, step 3, you've got to embrace the mess. This is me, right? So reinvention, it's never a straight line. It's not as easy as going from A to B. Advancing straight to go, collecting your 200 quid like you do in Monopoly. No chance, right? If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. You're going to need to be prepared to follow a few curves on your path from A to B. So one minute you think, yes, this is it. I know this product or this service is going to sell. It's going to be the one that puts my business on the map. I finally cracked it, right? And then 3 months later, you're staring at all the things that you bought and you invested in to create this life-changing product, which is still on the shelf because it turns out that no one felt the same as you and they just didn't sell. Annoying? Yes. End of the world? No. End of your business? Definitely not. It's just another twist and turn on this wonderful, slightly terrifying journey of self-employment. Just be prepared for it to get messy, for it not to look as you thought it would, for it to try your patience, and for it to send you on a bit of a wild goose chase, if I'm honest, until you finally find where it is you're meant to be. Step 4, you've got to ignore the critics, especially the ones who have never taken a bloody risk in their lives. Yeah? You don't want to be asking them for their opinion on this kind of stuff, trust me, because it won't help. They just look at you blank like, why are you doing this to yourself? Oh God, don't you just want the stability of a full-time job? Well, no. I'm doing this because I feel like there's more to my life. Sometimes I don't even ask my husband for his opinion on anything to do with my business because he admits it himself. He hasn't got a bloody clue. In fact, when I do decide that I might like his opinion on a new idea I've got, or I need him to put my mind at ease about something to do with my business that's bugging me, within 30 seconds of asking him, I just wish I hadn't. Like, honestly, you can see this look of utter despair on his face at the thought of trying to contribute in a useful way to the conversation that I'm trying to have with him. It's painful. Like, luckily, this only happens when we talk about anything to do with working for yourself. He's much better at helping me with all my other crisis moments, thank God. But you need to seek out the people who will listen and encourage you and who know what they're talking about. Like, don't go and ask someone who's never worked a day in their life for advice. It's like asking someone without kids how they would recommend getting your child in bed and asleep by 7 p.m. Because yours or mine won't shut her eyes before 9:30 at the moment. And when she does, she's awake again 2 hours later in my bed, wanting to have a conversation about Jesus. Yeah, this actually happened. Kid you not. Right? You just wouldn't do it. So ignore the critics, and this includes yourself, because we tend to be our own worst enemy, don't we? And just do it. And finally, step 5, you've got to keep moving forward. Even if you start and stop again, it's all progress. Just don't stand still. Or not for long anyway. And remember, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. It's so true. I love that quote. So if you've been feeling unsettled or stuck of late, knowing that a change is on the horizon, or you've been forced into reinventing yourself, because sometimes we don't have a choice, do we, about it? Things happen and we're just pushed into it unexpectedly. Like maybe we get made redundant, or we do end up getting a divorce, sadly. Anything can happen that forces us into a situation where we have to look at reinventing an aspect of our lives. I really hope you feel even a little bit more positive about change. I hope that you can see that change and reinvention, it can be exciting. It can give you a whole new lease of life, personally or in your business. And it's an opportunity for growth. Try and put some wheels in motion today if you're feeling like a change is needed. Even if it's just popping a comment on this episode and telling me what change you want to make. Or send me an email. Like, my inbox is always open, and I mean that. Don't waste any more time. Be like me and give the things that aren't working in your life and your business a shelf life. Give it an expiry date, like I did with my old boyfriends, right? And if they aren't going anywhere, then get rid of them. They aren't working and you don't see them in your future. Send them off to what I used to call the island of lost men, right? I did. Or in this case, the island of lost ideas or something. By the time I met my husband Dave, that island was full, I'm telling you. There was no room for him, so it had to work out. But take some action today, whatever it is, no matter how small, and please do let me know about it. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do send it to one other person that you think would enjoy it and benefit from hearing from it today, even if it's only to give them a giggle, right? And if you want to receive my free weekly article for a dose of business support and a bit of humour, as always, then do make sure you're subscribed to the Her Handmade Hustle Substack. I'll put the link in the show notes in the description of this episode. And finally, go and check out my new Reinvented website. See what you think. I'd love to know if you like it. I'd love to know your thoughts on the style, the colours, the functionality. Go and take a look at my pick and mix business support. It'll make you hungry, I guarantee you. If you're anything like me and you've got a sweet tooth, you'll probably end up going out and getting yourself an actual sort of pick and mix after seeing it. But if you want any support in making a change and moving your creative business in the right direction, then get in touch. I would love to help you. That's it for now. Don't forget, if you're a paid subscriber to my Substack, you'll be able to access all my bonus podcast episodes as well for more business support, more entertaining stories. I tend to focus my bonus podcast episodes on action. So we do a lot of exercises to try and help you with the things that you're stuck on the most with your business. So if it's something that you're interested in, please do head over to the Her Handmade Hustle Substack and take a look. Otherwise, I'll be back next week with another episode of the Her Handmade Hustle podcast. Thank you for listening.